This is Almaty, the largest city in Kazakhstan. Although it's no longer the capital, Almaty remains a key center for trade, culture and education, and I have to say that this city was a pleasant and unexpected surprise. So come along on this 2-day Almaty tour as we uncover some of the top attractions and must-see locations in Kazakhstan's vibrant metropolis. Kazakhstan is the world's 9th largest country by land, but it only has about 20 million inhabitants, making it one of the least densely populated nations on Earth, with just 7 people per square kilometer. The area was inhabited and conquered by lots of tribes and empires throughout history, including Turkic nomads, the Mongols, the Arabs, and the Russians. Kazakhstan was annexed by the Russian Empire in 1860, and the region gradually became a vital source of oil and minerals. Kazakhstan obtained the status of Soviet Republic in 1917, which it would remain until independence in 1991. Today, the population is 70% Muslim and 19% Christian, and then there are some smaller minorities as well. Kazakhstan's economy is still largely based around raw materials, and they have a lot of oil and gas. They are also the world's largest uranium producer, accounting for around 35% of global production. In recent years, however, the economy has been diversified significantly, with services, finance, and tourism becoming more and more important. Almaty is today the most populous city with around 2.2 million people, and it was called Alma-Ata in Soviet times. It was also the nation's capital between 1929 and 1997, when the seat of government was moved to Astana. The two official languages are Kazakh, which is a Turkic language, and Russian. On that note, the country has been officially transitioning from the Cyrillic to the Latin alphabet since 2017. While Russian is still dominant, English proficiency is steadily improving, especially among the younger generations. The local currency is the tenge, and €1 equals about 600. Credit cards are widely accepted these days, and I noticed that most Kazakh people use a local payment app, so cash isn't all that necessary anymore. Finally, prices here are very reasonable, but not as cheap as Bishkek or Tashkent. And yeah, my first impressions of Almaty were very positive. The city is clean, well organized, and full of leafy avenues and pedestrian zones. While it doesn't have many skyscrapers or historic landmarks, it offers a highly pleasant and inviting atmosphere. Soviet apartment blocks are still omnipresent, but there are also a lot of modern and hip neighborhoods with trendy coffee shops and Western chains. You can see that Almaty has undergone massive changes in recent years, and it is today a young and dynamic metropolis. We are now at the Ascension Cathedral, one of the top religious sites in Almaty. Finished in 1907, it's a Russian Orthodox church that was built out of wood but completely without nails. Standing at 56 meters, it is the second tallest wooden church in the world behind Sapanta Peri Monastery in Romania. Not far from the Ascension Cathedral, you'll find Almaty Central Mosque, which was completed in 1999. With a capacity of just 3,000 worshippers, it isn't all that large, but still well worth a visit to experience Kazakhstan's religious diversity. The next spot on our itinerary is the Green Bazaar. It first opened in 1875, but the original structure was destroyed by an earthquake. The current building dates from 1925 and it is one of the main food markets in Almaty. As such, you can find all sorts of spices, meat, fresh fruits, and also textile here. My first purchase was some delicious fresh orange juice. It was then time for lunch and I opted for some traditional Central Asian plov. Horse meat is very popular in Kazakhstan, but in this instance I chose beef. As our first day in Almaty is coming to an end, let's do a quick accommodation tour. I got an Airbnb which was located on the last floor of a traditional Soviet apartment block. Now, these buildings might look a bit shabby on the outside, but many of the old Soviet apartments have been beautifully renovated and mine was one of them. It was modern, clean and super well equipped. It even came with an authentic Italian macchinetta, which any coffee lover will appreciate. I paid 40 euros per night for this entire apartment, which isn't super cheap for Kazakhstan, but still great value for money. The next morning, it was time to try out Almaty's metro system. It only has one line which opened in 2011, but it is currently being expanded as it only covers a small part of Almaty. And as you can see, the stations are rather deep. The fare is only 120 tenge and the trains are built by Hyundai Rotem. We are now on Republic Square or Independence Square, which used to be called Brezhnev Square. It was built in 1980 and housed various political institutions when Almaty was the nation's capital. During my visit, the entire square was under renovation, so there really wasn't that much to see. Now let's move on to the Central State Museum of Kazakhstan. This museum houses the most significant collection of artifacts in the country, and it's a must on your trip to Almaty. For some reason, you can't film or take pictures inside with any sort of camera, but cell phones are okay, so I got some shots. The collection is very impressive and explains the history of Kazakhstan in great detail. There was also a temporary exhibition about Anatoly Bukrev, a famous Kazakh mountaineer who ascended 10 of the 14 peaks above 8,000 meters, including Everest and K2. I then walked past the iconic Hotel Kazakhstan before taking the gondola up to Tobe hill. Tobe is situated at 1,100 meters above sea level, and it is a popular spot for locals and foreigners alike. Apart from the breathtaking views over Almaty, Tobe has lots of family-friendly attractions, including a zoo, Ferris wheel, restaurants, and a climbing park. I also got some dinner from the barbecue stand here. Not the best food I've ever eaten, but okay. The sunset views, on the other hand, were spectacular. And that is it from Almaty, Kazakhstan. I really enjoyed my time here, as it is a surprisingly pleasant city. It doesn't have anything groundbreaking, but it's a cool location with enough to see and do for a few days. And then there are, of course, plenty of day trip options, such as Koltsai Lake. And finally, the locals are very welcoming, and it is a very affordable place to visit. Thanks for watching.